Hello and welcome to Kankakee Podcast, where we talk about the people and places of Kankakee County. I'm Jake Lamore, and this is another bonus episode where we sit down with someone from the Kankakee Valley Theatre Association to talk about one of their upcoming productions. And this one happens to be Wizard of Oz Youth Edition. And this time around, directed by Renée Brammer, who is sitting down with us currently. Welcome, Renee.
Nice to be here.
We got the crowd clapping there. Thank you for that, Andrew. Thank you. We've got a big audience in here. We just crammed all the people in this tiny room. Renee, we were talking off mic before we started recording about how you are a huge Wizard of Oz fan buff, pretty much all your life, right?
Most definitely.
So when this show came up, you must have just hopped right on it, or someone told you about it and then you hopped right on it, right?
When I found out about it, definitely I was very excited. It's something that's been on my bucket list. So
I guess first, before we get too in the thick of Wizard of Oz, because once we get there, I think we'll probably be staying there for a little while because there's so much to talk about. But I want to know a little bit more about you. What is your background with Kankakee Valley Theatre Association? It seems like everyone else or everyone from KVT kind of has their own unique story of how they got involved with the organization.
Well, I've always enjoyed being involved in music and theater, and I started teaching in the Bourbonnais School District in 1992, and in 1997, a fellow teacher knew about my passion for theater and encouraged me to try out for emergency room ER, and I went and auditioned and was cast in the show, and that's kind of how it all started. And I was doing some math the other day, and I came to realize that I've been involved with KVTA now over half my life.
How many shows have you been in? Have you since that one in, what'd you say,
97, that
first show?
Mm-hmm.
Have you done like a show, at least one show almost every year?
Yeah,
or?
I've been involved in over 30 productions on stage.
Oh my gosh.
And then I've also been an assistant director and a director before this show. I was on the board of directors for 14 years and have worked on numerous committees and been backstage and on the stage and done a little bit of everything with both the adults and the kids.
And so you're no stranger to Kankakee Valley Theatre Association at this point. So.
No, it's been a real blessing in my life.
Yeah. What was your first show to direct?
The first show that I directed, I actually co-directed. It was Schoolhouse Rock Live 2, which is the sequel to Schoolhouse Rock Live.
When was that?
That was in 2008.
Okay.
I had been an assistant director prior to that. And I decided that it was a perfect show for me to be involved with directing since I'm a teacher. And I grew up listening to the Schoolhouse Rock cartoons on Saturday mornings.
Absolutely.
And still use them in my classroom actually today. So it was definitely a good fit for me as an educator. And so my friend Robin Biterni and I decided that we were going to co-direct that. And that was a unique experience. It was a unit set, and we had about 40 kids that were involved in that. And just such a fun educational show. We always have kids from the community that come to see the performances on Thursday and Friday before we open to the public. And that was a perfect sell for teachers. We had all kinds of people that wanted to come and bring their classes because they wanted to do some pre-work with it, tie it to the different standards that they were doing in their classrooms. And so that's how that started. And then I actually in 2015 went backwards and directed Schoolhouse Rock Live, which I had been an AD for previously, so kind of did 2 and then went back to 1 and directed that. And then I've been on stage again, since that time. And when this came up in the spring, when they announced their season, it just was super exciting to me because it's something that I've always wanted to do.
Yeah. So what's been your favorite role to actually play on stage?
Most definitely Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz.
When did you get a chance to do that?
So that was in 2001. It was kind of a unique experience because we decided to do a fundraiser in the form of an auction theater. And people went out and gathered bid money ahead of time So my passion for Wizard of Oz is well known around the community. So talked to people that I had known since childhood, family, friends, coworkers, parents of students that I've had. Went out and talked to different community businesses to get them behind me. And then on the night of the live auction, had money I had over $3,500 that had been raised ahead of time that we were able to bid. And then there were also contributions from the floor. And at the end of the night, walked away with that role. And it was so exciting.
That's awesome. So was that a KVT production then?
It was. It was a special fundraiser that we did, just to kind of give people a different opportunity to support our theater financially, while also putting together a production.
Yeah, that's cool. Have you done any other? Have you been in Wizard of Oz again, like as a different character at any point?
Then I followed up in 2010. I was a member of the ensemble. So I was an apple tree and an Ozian and a poppy and lots of different parts in that one. And now to swing to director. And this time my daughter's also in the production. So it's kind of full circle in that regard as well.
Oh, cool. So is she a part of the cast or is she behind the scenes?
She's part of the cast.
Okay. What is she playing?
She's a member of the ensemble. So she's a dancing jitterbug, and she actually is an apple tree as well, and an Ozian, and she is a cyclone dancer.
Wow. Okay. So there's a lot going on there. Yeah. The apple trees are always hilarious to me. That's one of the best parts of whether you're watching the movie or the production, I always get a kick out of the apple trees.
Some great lines there.
Some great lines. It's just a little bit of comic relief from the kind of dark story that Wizard of Oz can be, So I guess I want to know more about how you got, deep into loving Wizard of Oz. I mean, I feel like, I get it because I love Wizard of Oz too, but how did you become known to be the one that is just in love with it?
So when I was a little girl, I fell in love with the movie. And at that time, the movie was on once a year. And sometimes it was even Easter or Thanksgiving. And if you missed your chance, then you weren't going to see it for another year. So I fell in love with it. And my mom used to buy my favorite candy bar every year when it was on. And if we happened to have relatives that were there for a holiday, everybody knew that the house was going to kind of come to a hush while that was on. Sometimes it would be on during the year. And I can remember one year going to a sleepover late because I wasn't going to miss my opportunity to watch it. I had a Wizard of Oz bedroom, a Wizard of Oz collection, which I still have today. I still have a room in my house that's decorated with all of my things that I've collected through the years. And then as I started my teaching career, it was kind of perfect because I opened up our reading book the first year, and there was a short segment about when the balloon was launched in Wizard of Oz. And I thought, here's my perfect opportunity to bring it into my classroom. And from that story, I developed a month-long thematic unit, cross-curricular, so math, language arts, science, social studies, arts, all kinds of activities that I've done with my students. And that's become an annual tradition in my classroom. And students get to come to school that day dressed as their favorite character from the book or movie. And we have a variety of snacks and treats at Dorothy's Diner that are all rainbow and Oz themed. And we have a lot of fun, and we watch the movie that day. So we also, because we've read the book, we compare the book and movie. And one of the things that's very surprising to the kids, and I think adults as well, is that there are a number of differences between the book and movie. And so that's kind of a fun piece to be able to do that compare and contrast.
Do you teach that to adults? Because I want to be a part of this unit because I would love that. That sounds like
we
fun.
Always have parent and adult volunteers come in, so You're welcome.
So what are some of those big differences from the book to the movie? I've never read the book. I've wanted to, but what are some of those differences?
So I think one of the big differences that people are very shocked to find out is in the book, Dorothy does not have ruby slippers. She has silver shoes. And when the movie was made, they decided when they were going to go from the black and white segment to the Technicolor part that they wanted her shoes to really stand out. And so that's when they switched to the ruby slippers. There also are a number of characters that are in the book. Of course, the book is longer than the movie.
Yeah, the book is pretty thick, isn't it?
It is pretty thick, and there's like a golden cap, and there's the China country, and some of those things that are not included on the stage version. I think one of the other fun pieces of trivia that I always love to share is that when they were filming the movie, they were concerned that it was too long. And so songs like The Jitterbug got cut out, and that is in the theatrical production that we're doing. But Over the Rainbow almost got cut out of the movie.
I remember reading that too.
And that's just, that is what people always equate with the show, and it's the number one song of all time. And so it's hard to imagine Wizard of Oz without that musical selection. But that almost occurred.
Yeah, I think from what I remember, they thought that it slowed down the movie too soon because that song is very early on in the production, and you don't even get to Oz yet when she sings that song. And there's already a ballad in the movie. So, I think they were skeptical on that.
Yeah, it's the very first song. So, you don't always start out with something that's slower.
No, you don't. It's usually kind of upbeat most times, it seems like, in musical versions. So, what are the big? So I guess that kind of maybe answers some of the questions on what the differences are between the stage version and the movie as well, right? Some of there's those songs that were taken out of the movie are probably in the theater production.
Yeah, so it's interesting also, the Jitterbug, which is a huge dance number in the show, actually was also filmed for the movie, but is another one that got cut. And so one of the things that I think is exciting for people to come to see is this number that nobody is familiar with. And in our number, we not only have jazz, but we have tap in part of it. So we have a variety of different styles of dance, along with some awesome costumes that kind of bring that to life. And it's something that people aren't expecting to see in the Haunted Forest.
Oh, and that's where it takes place. Okay.
And I think it's really one of our showstopper songs.
What's one of your favorite parts about Wizard of Oz? What really drew you to it as a kid?
I think really the message behind it, that there really is no place like home. Dorothy in Kansas is dreaming of somewhere that she thinks might be more exciting or there might be more opportunities. She's with Aunt Em and Uncle Henry, and she's an orphan, and, she thinks her life on the farm is pretty dull and boring, and she's yearning for something else. And she gets to Oz and, almost immediately realizes that she's not with some of the people that are very important to her. And she, of course, meets the Scarecrow and the Tin Man and the Lion, and they go on their quest to find a way for her to get back to Kansas. And while she makes some great friendships along the way, the whole time back in her head is really all those family relationships that she's missing. And so I think it's such a bittersweet moment at the end when she has to say goodbye to her friends who she's now developed a relationship and loves too. But she really does realize there's no place like home. And I think for all of us, we all have dreams of doing different things. And while those are all very exciting opportunities, your childhood and your family relationships, there's nothing that can ever replace them. And so I think that timeless message is really what appealed to me. And then I just think, as a kid too, seeing just all the differences when they go from the black and the white to the color and all the just fantastic songs and dances and character development, that just really appealed to me as well.
All the main characters in the movie, are all of those in the book as well, or were some of those added for the movie?
They're pretty much all there. You have, of course, Dorothy and the Tin Man and Scarecrow and Lion. You have the development of the Wicked Witch is a little bit different in the movie. But for the most part, the main characters are pretty much the same. One thing that's unique in our production is Toto is typically either portrayed on the stage as a live dog or a stuffed animal. And in our production, Toto starts out as a stuffed animal, but then turns into a live Toto person.
Really?
So, and that is not something that is very often seen. That's kind of unique to our youth edition. So that's kind of something that is an exciting piece for someone to be able to portray Toto.
So is that something that was written in the youth edition, or is that something you guys came up with on your own?
That actually, and I probably just did a little bit of a spoiler there. But
hey, it gets people.
But it is it's a different, something again that people aren't really expecting.
Yeah, no, I would not have expected that, but I'm it makes me curious to see how that plays out, because I've never seen a version of Wizard of Oz where Toto becomes a real person. That's very interesting.
Does Toto have any lines or blocking in the script? Just because I'm totally curious.
Yeah. So our Toto is played by a 6-year-old. And she does have some lines and does have some blocking. She's with them on their travels down the Yellow Brick Road. So she's definitely a part of the storyline all the way through.
On all fours?
You'll have to come and see.
Great question, Andrew. That was a good one.
And Toto has lines? Are they barks?
Mainly barks, some growls, a few other little comical spins on other people's lines.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Who's involved with the cast? Who's playing the main characters in this?
So our Dorothy is portrayed by Colby Ogabovic. And our Scarecrow is Abby Purcell. Our Tin Man is Caitlin Brown. And our Lion is Hunter Lockhart. Wicked Witch is Chloe Kearney. And Glinda is Hannah Mantooth. And then Toto is Maisie Rader.
And what are some...
As well as the Wizard of Oz. Can't forget the wizard, Matthew Case.
Okay, yeah, can't forget the wizard at all. And what are some of the things that these kids have to go through as far as getting productions together, specifically to this one?
Well, we had a very large tryout for this. This is, a very popular show. And in general, KVTA's Youth Young People's Theater always has a great turnout of kids. So in our particular production, we have 47 kids that are between the ages of 6 and 17, and they auditioned back the third week of August, right as school was starting, and they have been in rehearsal since that time. We started out with about 3 nights a week and then kind of moved to 4 nights, and we're now in every night.
Okay.
So 5 nights a week.
Yeah, because we're
only a couple weeks out. Yeah.
Right. The time we're recording this, we're 2 or 3 weeks. I guess we're 2 weeks out, aren't we? Yeah, at this point. When this is released, we'll be a week out, which is even more exciting. Which, by the way, the dates are November 18th and 19th, 2023. Hopefully, you're listening to this before then. And it's at the Lincoln Cultural Center in Kankakee, and you can get your tickets at kvta.org. What's in your Wizard of Oz collection? That was something I was thinking about.
My
too,
Wizard of Oz collection has lots of different things. Probably one of my favorite pieces. When I was younger, they issued plates from the Bradford collection, collector plates. And so typically for my birthday or a special occasion every year, my mom and dad would give me one of those plates until I had the complete set. And so they were in my bedroom as a child, and now they are in what I call our Oz room in our house on display. And so they're something that's very special. Of course, my Toto that I had when I played the part and that basket, those are, unique things that are very special to me. I had Wizard of Oz handmade crafted dolls. Like I said, my bedroom was a greenish wallpaper when I was younger. I can even remember I had a ballet tutu that had been emerald green that became my lampshade. Lots of different versions of the book. I also have had the opportunity to have a book autographed by the author's grandson. He has written sequels that kind of continue the Wizard of Oz. And he used to appear at the MGM Hotel in Las Vegas. And so one time when I was there, they had him there, and I was able to get an autographed copy, as well as through the years, I've had lots of parents of students that have contributed different items to my collection as well. And of course, I actually have 2 pairs of ruby slippers from when I played the role. And every year when I dress up in my classroom as a character, those ruby slippers have come out many times.
Yeah, you might have to break those out during the shows too, right?
Yeah.
Opening night especially. Andrew, did you ever do Wizard of Oz?
I did not.
No?
That is one show that I've always wanted to do. KVTA did an adult version 10 years ago.
Yeah, 2010. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2010. I had not started theater at that point.
Okay.
And I am not between the ages of 6 and 17, which is why I did not audition this time around.
Right,
well, and probably, I guess another part of that's unique to my story is that when they did the Auction Theater in 2001, I was 30 years old. And so I thought my chance to play Dorothy had come and gone. And that was my golden opportunity because I could go out and fundraise. And I like to think I looked fairly young for my age at that point, so it still worked. But that just kind of shows you that you never know when those opportunities might still be there.
Yeah. When was the book written, by the way?
1901.
Okay. I thought it was right around that time.
Yeah, I always tell the kids that if you're looking for a great example of what a classic piece of children's literature is, that's kind of the stamp.
What happens in the sequels? Have you read the sequels?
I actually have read portions. It kind of continues on, like there's a Scarecrow of Oz and some of the other characters. It kind of develops their story. And then, of course, many people are familiar with the musical Wicked.
Yes.
And that's the story of, why the Wicked Witch became wicked. So that's
the prequel.
That's another interesting piece for people. So you kind of see the before and after pieces of it.
Yeah. I remember reading, when I was a kid, a sequel book of some kind to Wizard of Oz, but I can't for the life of me remember who it was by and like what all the details were. I just remember it was after the movie or the original book, but I don't remember all the details.
Yeah. Another interesting experience I had, for years they had a Wizard of Oz festival in Chesterton, Indiana. That was very well known. And I had the opportunity to go to that, and I got to meet the understudy for Dorothy. And actually, I had my picture taken with her. We're the same height. Actually, I'm the same height as Judy Garland.
Wow.
So that's kind of always been a fun fact to me. And so got to meet her, a picture, autograph. And then at that point, there were still 2 living Munchkins, which I think they are all gone now because obviously the movie was made in 1939.
Yes.
So how fun to meet some of the original cast members. And
That's
then,
so cool.
At that festival, lots of people walking around in costume and just different vendors with all kinds of interesting crafts that were related to it. So there's been a couple other festivals I've attended too, but that one, I think just getting to meet some of those original cast members was my favorite.
Was Chesterton where they had, I know you said that's where they had the festival there. Was that also where they had like a Land of Oz permanently? It was almost like a...
I don't know.
Theme park?
No, I don't think so. There have been a few of those throughout the country.
Yeah.
And some are not in operation anymore. I've heard kind of rumblings about maybe another one coming. But the festival there, I think that town in general, Chesterton, has, some things that are year-round set up as Wizard of Oz just because they're so famous for that. Mm-hmm. But there was another one, another festival that was in Tinley Park. And then I think there was another one maybe in Wilmington very recently.
That's the one I saw. I saw that there was one in Wilmington not that long ago. And of course, KVTA had a special Wizard of Oz event too.
Yeah, so last Saturday, my cast and I were able to put together an afternoon that was called An Afternoon in the Emerald City. And that was kind of something that I have always envisioned doing because of some of the activities that I do in my classroom. And so I found that to be like a segue into we had the lead characters that were walking around and they were signing autographs and posing for pictures. And then there were all different stations that were set up for families to visit. They were doing some writing relating to Wizard of Oz. They were figuring out on a budget what foods they could buy at Dorothy's Diner. They were designing hot air balloons. And actually, one of my favorite things that they did is they tried to build a house out of certain supplies that could withstand a cyclone. And our cyclone was 60 seconds on high on a blow dryer. So they had their engineering skills out in full blast.
And it wasn't made out of anything that would melt from a blow dryer.
No, they just had index cards and paper and like craft sticks and pipe cleaners, paper clips. Not a lot to work with. So they really had to be creative in how they assembled them. And some of them held up pretty well.
Is that something you do in your unit that you teach in your class?
Actually, a lot of the activities are, but that was a new activity. I was looking for something in particular because I knew we were going to have our older cast members there, as well as maybe some older people that came. And so I was looking for some things that would appeal to the teenagers as well and kind of gave them an opportunity to be creative. And And it was interesting because we had younger people as well as older people that were very intrigued by trying to build that. And at the end, we took a picture of all the different houses that people had tried to construct. So
yeah, that's awesome. Well, is there anything else you can think of that you want to get out there about the youth edition of Wizard of Oz or anything Wizard of Oz related?
I just would encourage everyone to come. It's very family friendly. We, of course, are doing 4 performances for the schools leading up to it. So there's lots of area school children that are coming. And then we also have a Saturday matinee this time. We often don't have a Saturday afternoon show, but because we anticipate having a lot of people come, we have a Saturday afternoon and a Saturday evening, and then a Sunday afternoon as well. And then one of the other things that's still kind of in the works that we are going to do something with, because of the emphasis on there's no place like home and being so thankful to have a home and being in the month of November with gratitude, we are going to be having a collection of some kind for people that may not be as fortunate and may be struggling to have a home right now. And so we'll be sharing out information on our website and on our Facebook page about some possible items that people might bring when they come to the show that we can then donate to an organization that will be able to pass them along to people that are less fortunate.
Oh, that's wonderful. What a great tie-in.
I think
to,
it's a nice
show.
It's a nice opportunity too for us to teach the kids in the cast to be thankful for what they have and to be able to share what they have with others.
Yeah, and as you pointed out, November is the perfect month to be doing that. So great. So kvta.org to get those tickets and to view the other upcoming shows for Kankakee Valley Theatre Association as well. Renee, this has been great.
Thank you for having me. It's always a privilege to not only represent KVTA, but to share my love of Oz.
Thank you, Renee.
Yeah, thank you very much.
This river